Funky politics.
Funky politics. Funky politics. Funky politics.
Funky politics.
Funky politics.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. I am DC. Sitting here with my longtime co-host, Doc Ward. Doc, what is up, my Doc?
Ho, 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 open up your dough, because it's Funky Politics, real, right, and funky, and we're about to start this show.
Ooh.
We're
outlaws in here, Doc.
Man, we got some treats. Baby. We got some treats for the good and some cold for the bad.
Uh-oh.
Giving you something that you never had. And guess what? As we get to this point in our year, I'm looking forward actually to 2019, because that is going to be the year that the blue wave comes to the red coast, and you will start to see our nation at work. Literally, our nation at work. Because now you're going to have a Democratic Congress.
Yeah.
You're going to have a series of large urban areas in this country that are going to be led by Democrats.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have a Senate and some rural areas and some urban that are going to be led by Republicans. And in order to do anything to move this country forward, it's going to take more than just horse trading. Right. It's going to take some real innovative thought and real effort and less funky politics. So I'm looking forward to 2019 being a funky year in a good way. Not a bad way.
For a change.
For a change.
The White House and on the Senate side, they've got to deal with somebody that doesn't look like them in the middle, right?
Yeah. But
so the people's house is going to have to stand up for the people.
But everybody everywhere, because they say all politics are local anyway, everybody everywhere for the first time is really going to have to think. Being a part of a party or being a part of a certain group or being a part of a certain culture is not going to get you over. You're going to have to do the work, the hard work, the homework, the real work to make this country work. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it and looking forward to being a part of it and reporting on it right here on Funky Politics.
But you know what? We got somebody today.
Right.
Who's been doing the work?
The hard work.
I mean, you talking about some hard. You've been doing some heavy lifting.
The trailblazing.
Literally some heavy lifting.
The trailblazing.
Chairman of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners, Van Turner Esquire.
A young man, a true profile and courage in this city, in so many areas. It's the city of Memphis and so many areas. And
he's going someplace.
He's going to come and break down to us what happened in Memphis, because there was a significant blue wave to happen in Memphis and Shelby County. He's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about what it's going to take to sustain it and move it forward with everyone. And we're looking forward to that.
Right here on Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network.
Am I gonna sit there and argue with you over we had steak 2 days ago, I want chicken?
B. I'm gonna be spicy all the time. I don't care if I'm single or not. C.
I think that the foundation is how you were brought up.
3 black chicks on the Kazuki Network.
Kazuki.
We got the funk. Funky Politics on the Kazuki Network.
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. I am DC, sitting here along with my trusty co-host, Doc Ward. Doctor, what's up?
Funky Politics brings the guests while the others bring the mess. Ours is real, right, and funky every day. So if you want to be duly informed.
Duly
informed.
Okay.
Come on, turn it on to us, and we'll tell you what's happening all over this U.S. of A.
But you know what?
Yes, sir.
Today, we have the one and only, and I want to make sure people know that's the one and only. We have the one and only, the chairman.
Barbecue place?
Well, it is a barbecue place.
Yeah.
He didn't bring anybody either. But anyway, the one and only chairman of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners here in Shelby County, Tennessee. Memphis and Shelby County, Tennessee, by the way.
Memphis, Shelby County.
That's right.
Is the county seat.
The one and only Mr. Chairman Van Turner Esquire. How are you, sir? Welcome to the program.
Hey, doing well. Glad to be here.
Man, I'm great. We're going to get funky, right? We're going to get funky real quick.
Yeah, because Van is more than just the chair of the of the county commission. He's a former chair of the Shelby County Democratic Party. He's been involved in politics for a very long time, and he's also a Rhodes Scholar too. You didn't know that.
And he's also
he's
also a chair of a nonprofit in Memphis that has done some great work that he was noted for here this past year.
So go ahead and flesh it out, because we got to let people know when we say real, right, and funky. I mean, anybody can get up here and talk. We're bringing you people that don't just talk. they know what they're talking about.
I want to bring him in. I want to, because we don't have a lot of time, but I want to just go ahead and hit him with some questions real quick.
Hit him.
If we can.
Hit him.
Well, no, hit him. But anyway.
Hit him on the one.
Mr. Chairman, we have just seen in 2018
Yes.
man, I don't know how you explain it, but we've seen some black folks, some people of color, some brown folks, some black folks assume some offices or even attempt to assume some offices that we've never seen before in this country. And some came really, really close, but a whole lot succeeded, especially right here in our own county.
Right.
Man, what in the world? What happened? What does this thing
What's
come
happening?
from? What's happening? I guess. Thank you, Doc.
Yeah, this is still ongoing.
Yeah.
Well, I think you see the result of what's happening in D.C. So if we take it back 10 years ago, 2008, Barack Obama is elected, right?
That's right.
And so after President Obama's election, you see this, the Tea Party is born, and you see just all throughout the South and in many of the states a backlash. And many of the state legislatures went hard right.
That's right. They sure did.
And so we didn't call it what it was back then, but it was a red wave, right?
That's right.
I mean, and so even to this day, the Tennessee General Assembly is supermajority Republican in both houses. And back in 2008 and before 2008, you had Democrats.
Supermajority Democrats.
Yeah, right. And so you saw that shift, and I think it's that's politics. It ebbs and flows. 10 years later, a decade down the road, Trump is elected, and you see what we call the blue wave, or it has been indicated the black wave.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I think that's just how politics goes, and what you're seeing is the backlash of President Trump's election. And here's why. A lot of times in the county, when I was party chair, it was tough to get everybody going in the same direction in many instances. And sometimes, at least the African-American Democrats felt that the white Democrats didn't stay true to the Democratic Party
yes, sir.
or banner and voted for the white candidates who ran countywide. And so, and when you listen or you talk to the white Democrats, their point was, well, you're not running qualified candidates. And yeah, they're African American, and I'm not saying I'm not voting for them because they're black. I'm saying we're not voting for them because they're quote unquote not qualified. And so then you had,
I like that.
I know,
when
you know,
they want to throw that out as
It's called a euphemism.
right, right. So I mean, you had the back and forth, right? And so what you saw this time, people were so mad, so pissed at President Trump. I mean, it was just a clean sweep, and folks stayed unified. It wasn't an issue of, whether or not you were qualified. And let's be real, all the candidates were qualified.
yeah, that's right.
It wasn't, well, you white, you're black, or, you believe this and I believe that. Folks said, if you're a Democrat, I'm voting for you.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna just vote that Democratic ticket,
And I'm gonna stick
from
with
Mayor
it.
Harris on down to the clerk's offices.
On down the dog catcher.
And that's what they did. That's why you're listening to Funky Politics,
That's
powered
right.
by the Kazuki Network.
I don't care what the job is.
Man,
I'm going to vote for the
if you
Democrat.
were a Democrat on the August ballot of 2018, you were gonna get elected.
Yeah,
And so-
really save maybe one or two people, right?
And that's what happened. And I just think it emanates from D.C., man.
Yeah.
I remember after President Trump was elected, walking to drop my kids off at school, folks were visibly shaken.
Wow.
I'm talking about, you could tell people had been up crying all
right,
night.
right,
And Midtown is a very diverse
Sure, it is.
area of town. So black, white, man, woman, Jew, Gentile.
Yeah.
Folks were just like, man, what in the world just happened last night?
We couldn't believe it. We didn't believe it.
But now, how much of this though is, and I may be saying this naivete, how much of this is just a continuation of the grassroots efforts and inspiration that Barack Obama placed in a lot of people to go out and seek office and participate and be involved in the political process? Because he had some pretty powerful words going out. A pretty powerful charge to people. I can't quote him now. I think I have on this show once upon a time. But he had a pretty powerful charge to people to go out and to not let their dreams be dashed by who may be in office, but instead get active individually in their own area locally and move forward. So how much do you think is the continuation of that charge?
Yeah, I mean, it's totally there. The reason I even ran for Democratic Party chair or got involved was as a result of President Obama's election. And I think you kind of saw that manifest and feel the burn, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean many of the Bernie candidates, I mean, that's what you saw. They were outside of the party ranks. The establishment candidate was Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And you
saw the clash of that right there on the Democratic National Convention floor.
Correct.
When it became revealed that there was sort of an effort to suppress Bernie Sanders' vote. And I don't want to modulate a little bit because now you've got all these Democrats across the country and across various areas, including Shelby County, that are in office.
Right.
So now it's time actually for some policy and some platform development.
Right.
So what is going to be the motivating factor that sustains and maintains Democrats in office and keeps them there actively involved and keeps them getting reelected now that you've gotten so many of them elected?
Well, I think it just comes down to excellence. We are experiencing a time where you've never had this many African Americans or women, and let's put a
Oh, absolutely.
Black women.
Absolutely.
Let's be clear, Black woman magic. And so I think it's time to show excellence. And I've dealt with all of the countywide candidates, and I think that's what you're going to see. Mayor Harris is innovative. He's a person who thinks outside the box, and he's willing to engage and go after things, I think, which will push the city and the county forward. Sheriff Bunner started from the bottom. Now he's at the top. Yeah. Drake's son, right? This man started like patrolling folks, kicking doors in with the narcotics team, into the administration, into the deputy positions, right under the chief, and now he is the chief law enforcement officer.
From the bottom to the top.
From the bottom to the top.
But that's a song in there.
Let me say. Let me burn. You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. I've got to disagree with you guys on something you said minutes ago. Not this last piece, but the minute. And you say, well, the charge that President Obama had, I think it goes back further than that. I think this groundswell has been happening since, number one, the contract on America. And I say the contract on America, not the contract with America. The Tea Party, I think folks, and then you got this guy elected. You got a Trump elected, and then all of a sudden, people say we put up with this stuff for about 20-something years. It's time to do something. And folks just visibly say, hey, look, that's it.
But if you
Democrats got.
But if you go back to the contract with America, though, all of that is all part of the same movement. I mean, it's just continuation.
No. The contract with America was something different than the Tea Party. No.
I understand, but here's what I'm saying. Contract with America produced Barack Obama, who produces the groundswell, who produces what we're talking about. It's all connected.
And I call it contract on America. But anyway, I got you.
I understand. It's all connected. But as I said before, and you talked about innovations. What are some of the issues that the African American and the Democratic leadership what kind of issues are they going to be tackling now that are going to sustain them over time? Because we all know universally health care is the number one thing. That's a very big issue for all Americans everywhere. With the rising cost of health care and what's going on with that. Infrastructure may or may not be an issue depending on where you live, but it is an issue nationally. It really is. But what are some of the things that you're going to be looking at to try to do? Because we're talking about the same democratic positions, social programs, and things of that nature. You need them, but they break us. We've got to find a way to administer those in a manner that's cost effective and pass those off. But what are some of the things that we're going to be needing to look at in the future, or Democrats are going to be needing to look at in the future?
I mean, we got to look at transportation. I mean, MATA needs a refresh and upgrade. We can't say we want to bring in jobs and put people to work and they can't get to their jobs and you don't have reliable transportation. Now, this ties in with the density focus of both Mayor Strickland and Mayor Harris. I mean, we're too spread out. We're sprawled. Shelby County is known as an urban county. We have this whole section of NACO. NACO is the National Association of County Officials, and it's called Urban Counties. And Memphis and Shelby County is one of the largest urban counties and most populated by African Americans.
Right.
You know, African American urban counties in the country.
Right.
And so transportation has to be a focus. We got to get people to work, from work, reliably, in a position where they can have families and take care of their kids, and be on time for what they need to be on time for. And this has to be a focus. And it's not just a city deal. Right now, the city funds matter. The county needs to get engaged. The mayor is supportive of the county getting engaged. The commission is supportive of the county getting engaged. I think a refreshed, renewed, remodeled, and better matter will assist in whatever we want to do here in the county. And we want job growth. We want to resolve crime, and we want to do all these things. But I think transportation is going to be key. And then, we got to bet on Memphis. Mayor Strickland and Mayor Harris are investing in Epicenter, which is an initiative to help out entrepreneurs. And so,
I want you to hold that point right there. I want you to hold that point. We're going to take a quick station break, and I want to come back and we want to get into this new innovative idea about how we use those resources we got already. All right. So Doc and I will be right back with you all right here on Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network, with our very own chairman, Van Turner.
Riffin' on jazz.
I think I know a lot about jazz.
It's only what you've been doing the last 30-some years.
Yeah, right? I know.
A voice that can make you laugh and make you cry.
Good jazz, you don't have to worry about what they're talking about. But when they pick up those instruments, we all speak the same language. And don't you know you went in the kitchen and come back with a big bowl of salad?
Riffin' on jazz on the Kazukian Network.
Hi, I'm Van Turner, chairman of the Shelby County Commission, and you're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazukian Network.
Welcome back to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. I am DC, sitting here along with Doc Ward. And man, we're chopping it up with our very own chairman of the Shelby County Commission, right here in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, Van Turner Esquire. How are you, sir?
Yes, sir. Doing very well.
Man, we were just talking. We were engaging about all this black girl magic and all of these folks that ran and won. And it just was a black wave, period. But now that we've got him in office, there's some innovative ideas that we got from our very own mayor in Shelby County with regard to the pension fund.
Yes, sir. He wants to take those pension dollars, which are invested, and invest in Memphis. Bet on Memphis. Bet on Shelby County. And so he wants to invest $10 million in what's called the Epicenter, which is a program to help entrepreneurs in the city. And it's underwritten by other corporations, so the county won't lose per this investment. But it is just a show of commitment. It's a show of commitment to say we believe in the grit and grind of Memphis. We believe in the soul of this city. The city has soul. That's what we're known for.
Yeah, that's right. And we're not talking about taking this huge risk. We're probably talking about a pension fund better than I bet $2 billion at this point or more,
easy.
right?
Yes, sir.
And so you're talking about a percentage just to see if this thing can work for us, right, Doc?
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
And so I applaud you all.
And you go to Nashville and they have Music Row.
Yeah.
And any form of music really that's in Nashville came from Memphis by way of the Delta. And so I think that you're going to also see a refocus on our music. I mean, we're the city of stacks. Yeah. And so I think you're going to see
we're the city of soul. That's like you said.
We're the city of soul.
We are the city of soul. Everything from our music to our religion to the way that we do business, the way that we are. It reflects the things. We're more than just. We don't just operate off the head. We operate from the heart, and that's why we probably so passionate about a lot of things that happen here culturally and through other groups of people. But I want to go back to this because, and just so this can be clear. There is a pension fund that contains billions of dollars, billions of dollars.
Right.
And those dollars, 100% of them are often invested in other,
funds,
low risk, high return funds. And so now what the mayor, the county mayor is aiming to do is basically take that investment and put it in something that is functioning in Memphis.
Correct.
That will directly yield more jobs.
Yeah,
that is a return.
Absolutely.
More jobs means that the economy is going to grow.
Absolutely.
The economy growing means, it's hope springs eternal. It goes on from there.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, I want to really flesh that out because that's an important thing. Nobody's done that before.
No. And it's innovation at its core.
Right.
And it's betting on us.
Right.
Yeah, we're saying we're smart enough, we're sharp enough, we have enough energy, we have enough hustle, enough grit and grind to bet on our entrepreneurs.
It sounds like we're at a Grizzlies game. But one thing I want to ask, because I got to get to this thing, what are we doing to raise our wages? Because that's, to me, in this community and other communities in our locality.
That's what folks on Funky Politics want to hear.
Jackson, Mississippi, who has a relatively new African-American mayor.
That's right.
Little Rock, Arkansas, who has a spanking brand new African-American mayor-elect. Birmingham in this region.
Right.
And you can go on and on. But in this region that has just those 4 cities, one of the biggest issues is raising wages.
Right.
So what are some things that are on the line from an innovative standpoint that are going to raise wages, say that 3 times fast, in our communities now in these areas?
Well, the mayor just raised wages up to $15 an hour.
That's for county part-time workers.
For county part-time, and we agreed with it. And so I think that's a step towards the right direction. Now, let's be clear. At one point, we basically said that if you're doing business with the county, you had to pay your workers a living wage. That was stricken down by the state government. And so they outlawed the ability of us to demand living wages for anyone doing business with the county.
And what was their reasoning behind that?
Well, I mean,
it from the floor. What were some things that were saying?
It hurts in their minds. It hurts business, and if you hurt business, you hurt the bottom line economics of the community, and it's the same MWB argument where you got all these restrictions and you want all these things to happen as it relates to minority and women-owned businesses, and you hurting business. Yeah. Well, hell, it shouldn't be business if you're not spreading the wealth throughout the community. I mean, that's crazy talk.
And if a culture of people comprises 70% or even 65% of the populace, I think it hurts a little bit more when those people can't spend money and participate in everything that creates and generates revenue in the city. We go by it all the time. So this is basically just the usual run-of-the-mill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let's visit a couple other states. Let's visit a place like Georgia. Okay. And a place like Florida, and even Ben Jealous in Maryland. I mean, these 3 were trailblazers, basically. No one in those 3 states had, in their shade, their ethnicity, had ever run for the highest office in the state. And they came pretty close. Less than a point, I think, off of for Abrams in Georgia, and same thing in Florida, and then Ben had a few points on him. How do we get others so engaged like yourself and a Doc Ward to get out there and say, I'm going to put my name on the line. I'm going to step, because we believe that greater service is out there, and I've got something to offer. Yeah. I mean, we got to have a field. We got to have a field crew out there. Somebody's got to be working these folks. Commissioner?
Well, I think that you're seeing a new wave of interest come into being, and it's broad-based, it's very energetic. And again, it's the result of what's happening in D.C. People who would not have been involved in politics are saying, I set that one out. I stayed at home. I wasn't engaged, and look what happened. You talk to people, oh man, Hillary's going to win it. She's eminently qualified.
Oh yeah.
You're talking Secretary of State, Senator, First Lady, Yale Law. Yeah. I mean, what do you want?
She had the entire pedigree.
But to be true to my brand and true to this show, we said even before that her relatability to people was going to be a problem with her. Yeah. And we actually predicted that Donald Trump was going to win the election. I mean, we did. You can go back in our archive and you can see that. And we didn't want to predict that. But
just a prediction,
because we really want, and nothing against Donald Trump at the time. It's just that, for the United States, you need stable leadership. It doesn't need to be too many modulations. And to go from where we were before to where we are now,
I want to go. I want to hit back on this technology piece again. New representative out of Queens, I think it is, isn't it? KCO, the young lady who she's really pushing this with these new freshmen coming in. This green piece that you're talking about, and see, I think we got away from that. Can we in the South especially, because of some of the rising temperatures we see every summer? And even into the winter months, can we not as a body, you all as a legislative body, not say, hey, look, we're going to invest in green technology, even if it's on the county level?
I think we can.
That's the kind of innovation.
The county's been investing.
Yeah, we just had a presentation.
Every building out there can be LEED. Every building can be LEED.
And we need to offer some type of incentive, for all new growth, new construction, new development. You need to have it clean and green.
Right.
And I think we have to move towards it. I mean, global warming is not believed by some, but the majority of any of the scientific references or studies say that we are warmer, and we're getting it is getting warmer, and you're going to see more natural catastrophes and issues and disasters. And you see California is on fire, man, Texas, and so
earthquakes. Yeah.
And so and you're not just seeing these simpler hurricanes that come by. I mean, you're seeing things that are just wiping places out, the face of the planet, man. And so you got to take it seriously. So we have to limit our emission footprint, and we have to focus on greening the county and the city, and I think that's something that can prove to be beneficial for us.
You heard it first right here on Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. Our own chairman is going to support helping to green our communities, or increasing the greening.
Yes, sir.
Because I think we've done a little bit.
We need to do more.
Even do more.
Right.
Because that spurs jobs, right?
Yes, sir.
Spurs jobs.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Solar technology spurs jobs.
But let's go on to the other thing, because we're talking about environmental consciousness and then innovations and creating jobs and raising wages and the like. But the other thing is the elephant in the room, at least for the Shelby County, Memphis community, and this is probably on the table for other communities in the United States as well. When we're talking about strengthening and bolstering the opportunities for diversity in business, particularly African Americans, Hispanic Americans, historically discriminated classes, what are some things that we can do in that regard? Now that we have people from those cultures making decisions and passing policy, what are some things that we can do now effectively that will ease some of the issues that have been created over time?
Man, you said the word is culture.
Yes.
You have to create a culture that says if you come to the government asking for any type of incentive, any type of opportunity, and you don't have diversity and equity on your team, you might as well not come through the door. Don't give us a proposal and you're not being diverse and equitable in what you're presenting, because it's a no-go. Once you create that culture, people know even before you even put it together.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, in Atlanta, it's a culture.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't step foot in Fulton County.
35% of it ain't going.
You already know.
Right.
Ain't going.
Right.
So I think we got to create that culture here within the city and the county. It's coming into being. We have to promote it. We have to undergird it. We have to support it, and we are committed to doing so.
But I guess I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I'm seeing now, and maybe it's because it's starting to come together, I'm seeing more resistance now, particularly on the government side, than I've seen. And I worked in government for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm seeing more resistance now than I did before. So is that just a sign that we're starting to get a handle on it, and you're seeing like the last few bastions falling?
Yeah.
Or is it really? Are we getting into a war stance? Because
no, I think it's coming together. I think your elected officials are committed. I think the business community and the chamber know that we're committed, and now everyone is at the table working it out.
Right.
Well, you heard it here first on Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. Doc Ward and myself, we're right here with our very own chairman of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners. We'll be right back. I like the way he said funking around.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing.
I did like that, but he said the older.
I'm gonna start using it.
He said the older electorate is funky.
Well, basically, it's what he's saying. He's saying that
midterm elections funking around,
and that's true
with our future.
Because it's noted. And I think you're absolutely
don't let
midterm elections.
Don't let them funk up the future.
Oh my God.
Grind fed. I'm your host, Cynthia Daniels.
And I'm your co-host, Williams Brack.
So we're going to be interviewing business owners about their journey. What made them leave their 9-to-5 and just go out and create their own brand? Grind Fed.
We're back right here on Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. I am DC, sitting here along with Doc Ward and our very own special guest today, the chairman of the Shelby County Board of Commissioners, Van Turner Esquire. And I say Esquire, and I say that with emphasis on it.
It's giving it to us straight. Real,
man.
right, and funky, the way we like it.
Yes,
sir. The way we demand it.
We demand that on this show right here. And we were just talking about something that's really funky, not only in communities of color, but communities all around the country, and that is participation in terms of
every community is a community of
That's
color.
Right.
Every community.
I mean, well, excuse me. Every community is a community of color. I'm talking about mine right now, and I'm talking about some others out there that are close to us.
Sure.
And how Shelby County is trying their darn level best to bring those numbers up in terms of participating with our small businesses in our town. Mm-hmm. And hopefully it'll just catch fire all over the country.
But it's bigger than that. And I think what's happened now is that we have started to look at what you just said, minority business development, as sort of a unitary or clinical kind of thing. Yeah. This is bigger than just giving somebody some money on a contract. Yeah. This is about trying to enrich, install, promote, preserve, protect cultures,
level up
cultures of people who historically, and I mean for decades, have been discriminated against. Mm-hmm. Let this sink in for a second. Mm-hmm. Have been discriminated against. There's been an intentional effort to suppress the advancement of a culture of people simply because of the color of their skin or whatever it is, whatever difference you have with them. And that group of people are Americans. Mm-hmm. These are Americans doing this to Americans. We've got to restore and rebuild all of our cultures. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are right now. I'm looking at right now a city council that in Memphis, Tennessee, where you have members walking out because they're feeling like their cultural issues affecting the appointment of a vacancy. Mm-hmm. In 2018. So we've got to do, it's bigger than just raising numbers. Mm-hmm. Numbers are only relative to some constitutional qualification that was put in place so other people wouldn't feel like they were being shut out when you started being more diverse. Mm-hmm. But it's bigger than that. Mm-hmm. It's about trying to make sure children can eat. Children can be proud of their mother and father being in business. And I know I've diatribed on this too long, but my question is, does the county see that? Do you think that the elected officials are starting to see that? Are you starting to get off the page just looking at this as numbers and percentages and start really qualitatively saying we are building our communities and our culture of community that represents the vast majority of our population?
That's where I am, and I think the other commissioners who are serving with me are there as well. You got Mikhail Lowry, Tammy Sawyer, Michael Whaley. You got a number of young, innovative, elected officials who get it. And, and they're not restrained by being in this for so long that they're jaded and they've given up and they're saying things are not going to change. I mean, this is the time where things have changed. And there's innovation, and there is no thought process that it can't be done. It can be done. And so I think that you're going to see that occur at the commission. And, for all the things that are happening at the city council, the most fortunate aspect about all of that is that next year is an election year. And so, I mean,
the most fortunate thing about it.
I mean, whether you like it or not, you're going to get it straight with no chaser.
Right.
And I can foresee people who are community minded, who have the hearts and minds of those who they represent, being elected to those council positions. And I think you're going to see collaboration between city council and county commission like you've never seen before on this issue. And I think Mayor Strickland and Mayor Harris are going to be right there with us. And we're doing it because it's the right thing to do, and we want our city to move forward. Atlanta is a city too busy to hate, right?
Right.
And you see where that got them.
Right.
We have to follow suit.
You can't be the city too hateful to be busy.
No, you can't do it, man. And it's time. We've coming off of MLK 50 commemoration,
right?
And man, it's time to move, and you can't move like you have to move, and you leave the majority of the city out.
And we can respect that coming from you because you were at the forefront of one of the major movements that occurred earlier this year with the removal of two of the Jefferson Davis statue and the Nathan Forrest statue. So through the Green Space Organization.
Right.
So what are you guys doing with that now? What's going on?
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kadzuki Network. Go ahead, Commissioner.
We're in litigation.
Okay.
We're briefing it, and fellow barrister, you know what that is. So that entails we won in Chancery Court, and so once we brief the appellate court, we will have oral arguments before the appellate panel, and they will render a decision, and hopefully that will start the conclusion of all of this, and we're able to transfer the assets to Civil War memorial institutions or parks. Right. We're able to clean out the rest of the Confederate remnants at Health Sciences Park. We've already cleared up Fourth Bluff Park downtown, and with the density focus of where we're headed towards, with Union Road coming to being, with a new renovated convention center, with the new development that they're building right next to the UT Medical Center.
Right.
I mean, there's a push to make the urban core, midtown, downtown more dense, more livable, more walkable,
more diverse.
Yes, more diverse, and I think you're going to see more utilization of those parks.
Right.
And heretofore, man, they've been remnants and symbols of hatred and white superiority and the Confederacy. And black folk didn't want nothing to do with those parks, to be honest with you. Why would I look like having a picnic and you right in the shadow of Nathan Bedford Forrest?
Well, it's definitely nothing that you can really rally behind. But I question, you got a Shiloh Memorial Museum right up the road.
Exactly.
Has anybody contacted them about receiving that memorabilia so that it can be used there?
Yeah, well, as you know, in the field of law, you got to keep some things confidential. But people have reached out, and the appropriate people have reached out.
Right.
And once, hopefully, the litigation is over, we can proceed on making some of those things happen.
I don't want to take the statue piece lightly at all. Right. I want to revisit. You got into the Atlanta piece, and I think that's very interesting here, where Atlanta has been doing this magnificent job of inclusion.
Correct.
In the black business community for years. Mm-hmm. What does it take for us? Can we get these major corps in Memphis and Shelby County, in Nashville, in Birmingham, in Louisville? Can we get all of these corps to say, look, can we, if the government can do it, can you all not do this also?
Yeah.
Because that's not where it's not happening there right now.
Right.
It's not happening there. And that's where the money's made. Not necessarily with government, because you only have about $100 million that you spend a year?
Well, government tells you that their numbers are, 20% on the one side and one branch and 30% of the other as far as participation.
Sure.
But you're still coming up short on revenue overall. You're like at 0.08 in revenue. So that means that if you've got 30% participation in the city, but yet 0.08 in revenue spent overall, that means that somewhere in the private sector, you're not getting anything.
And that's what I want to know. Mm-hmm. And you work hand in hand with the chamber and with Edge. Mm-hmm. They've got to understand we've got a chamber chair who is the president CEO of one of the branches of FedEx. Mm-hmm. They've got to understand that we've got to help build these. And I know they do a wonderful job. Mm-hmm. Now they do some work around the country.
Yeah.
But we got to have more.
Yeah.
We got to have more.
And I would invite you all to invite Richard Smith on the program.
Well, you know what? We'll do that.
I think he should come on and we should have
glad you said that.
We should have an array of folks here. So we should have the black business community represented, the Latino business community represented, the chamber, and let's hash it out. I think he's there. I think he spoke because the view was a bigger pie, and there's more for all of us all to eat. But our thing is we're looking at a side eye. We're like, yeah, you create a bigger pie, but unless you are forced to do business with us and give us a piece of the pie, how can we be so sure we're going to get it?
You're still, as Calipari said,
right.
As Calipari said, you're at the kids' table with the plastic
right.
Right.
Yeah, and paper plates.
I think Mr. Smith gets that now. And so he's working through the council and the commission. We both had studies to look at EDGE and to look at economic development. And I think you're going to see some momentum behind the chamber getting behind our MWBE and LOSB programs, because the LOSB thing is forgotten. We're talking locally owned small business.
Right.
It's not enough to say MWBE. We want businesses locally doing well.
I can sell you pencils. You got to have ink pens.
I feel good about hearing that, but I guess for me, it's almost, why does it have to be so rigid and statutory? I mean, you can study this all day long, but you've got a disparity study that was done and that continues to be updated. It started being done first by DJ Miller. That one went through the courts. It wasn't all that great. Then Griffin and Strong picked up another one. Yeah. Regardless of what you think about them, they both essentially say the same thing. The discrimination in Memphis and Shelby County has been intentional. It's been horrendous, and it has affected the economic standing of African Americans. So all it really takes for private sector people who are not in any way governed by the 14th Amendment, 13th Amendment, any of the things where it says if you get state grants or whatever, you have to have certain guidelines. They can just basically say, I want to make a conscious effort to have a certain percentage of diversity in my corporation, and then just go about the effort and do it. They don't have to come back to the city and the county to study anything.
That's right.
And so when I start seeing that happen, then I can truly have faith that we're starting to see the ice crack, because that's what happened in Atlanta.
Right.
Now, yeah, of course, it took shutting down the airport for some.
That's right.
$25 million project in 74. But we got enough African American and others here in Memphis where we can push that and just say, guys, start with 10%.
Right.
Start with 10%. Then go to 50%, because right now you're less than zero. Almost less than 1%. Right. So how can we do that? What leveraging can be done? Because we've got quite a few elected officials now. What leveraging can be done on that effort?
You're listening to Funky Politics, powered by the Kazuki Network. Go ahead.
To convince the corporate structure in Memphis,
in America,
in America,
it's everywhere.
That diversity works. It's what works. What can be done in that?
I think we're at the phase of when you get to that swimming pool, it looks pretty and blue and so refreshing. And in Memphis, it's 110 degrees outside, but you still don't know how shocking it would be to you. So you stick your toe in. I can deal with it. Then you submerge your own foot. Then you put your legs in. Then you eventually take the plunge.
But then your friend comes and pushes you because he sees you
right.
Taking your time.
So here's the point. Elected officials got to be that friend saying, man, we going to push you in and let you go ahead and get in that thing. So now you got your legs in, go on, jump in that thing, because you got the friend, which is us, the elected officials, saying, hey, man, we're going to push you in this whether you like it or not. And then what happens? You get in there, you get used to it, and you find that it's refreshing. It's the right move.
And you don't want to get out.
I think we're at that phase now, and when the business owners and the corporate community realizes that diversity will increase their bottom line and make this city better, truly make it, and it's not just talk, I think you're going to see the full commitment. The color is green. It's not black and white. We've not had that. It's been so much resistance.
Right.
But now, as you see, man, you can't be the king forever. You're seeing a transition of power. Fred Smith has been the man forever, but his son, Richard Smith, is coming into being. You're seeing the transition of all these corporations to the baby boomers are moving out the way, and the Gen Xers and the millennials are coming forward. And I think they have a different philosophy, and I think you're going to see more of an embrace of diversity and equity.
But I'm concerned to a degree, and my concern is this: do you think that in order, no real change happens without some significant incident?
Yeah.
And we talked about Atlanta, but Atlanta did have to have the Hartsfield issue to get people on point.
Yeah.
Will we find a situation where in Memphis where we may lose a major corporation because government's pressing so hard, and is the government willing to go to that point where they say, well, major corporation, you may just not be able to do business here because we're going to do what we need to do for our citizens?
Well, I think we've hit that point. We passed a moratorium in the county towards the end of the last term, and we basically said
on what?
We're shutting down all government contracting right now because we don't have faith in the diversity spin.
Wow.
And so
would you do that for schools as well?
I mean, I think
because theirs is pretty dismal.
I mean, I think it should happen. I think you should stop all spending unless there's a true commitment to diversity and equity. Another dime should not be spent unless black folks, Latinos, and women are included in the spend.
Wow.
I think you have to have that commitment. And here's one thing that I realized. If my family is eating and I'm eating, I'm okay. And I can watch over and see these folks starving. Mm-hmm. But if I'm eating, I'm gonna throw them a few pennies and I'm gonna help them out. But my family is eating well. When you can't feed your family, and you start feeling how those folks across the street are feeling, and then you start viewing things a little different. If you shut it down and nobody eats, as the Hartsfield Airport in Atlanta, I think you're going to see some improvement in that area, and just the threat of it will change.
Wow. Look, let me tell you something. We have had an education. Yep. Mr. Chairman, we got to get you back on Funky Politics.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Ward, we not had a conversation today.
I'm just impressed, not just by just what we've talked about, but this is a profiling courage.
Yeah.
Courage with removal of statutes, courage with the moratorium, courage with moving forward innovations. It takes courage. People don't realize it. You got to be unpopular sometimes. And sometimes
do you know we have a deep bench around the country.
Yeah.
A deep bench, man, around the country. And that's a great thing about it, man.
Mm-hmm. But we got some good starters too.
Yes, right. We got some good starters.
And that's what it takes. We got one right here with us. Real right and funky.
That's right. You're listening to Funky Politics right here on the Kazukian Network.
We got the funk. Funky Politics on the Kazukian Network.
3. Am I going to sit there and argue with you over we had steak 2 days ago, I want chicken?
B. Some of it's spicy all of the time. I don't care if I'm single or not.
C.
I think that the foundation is how you were brought up.
3 Black Chicks on the Kazukian Network.
The revolution will not be televised, but it will be podcast on Funky Politics, and DC and Doc will be here to give it to you real, right, and funky when it does.
You know what my grandma used to say? Have mercy. Have mercy. This young brother.
Have mercy.
Have mercy. This young brother today, man. The chairman. Man, everything that we're trying to do, we're trying to pull together. I mean, with Black Thought, we can pull this country together, man. We can pull this country out of this malaise I think that we're in right now.
Well, and it's more than just Black Thought, because I want to say this nothing occurs at the exclusion of any culture or people. It takes multitudes of cultures.
No, I don't want to exclude anybody. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that for a long time, you've had one particular dominant culture. They think that they're dominant, and they've been dominating. They've been dominating politics, dominating state life, all of this stuff. But for a chance, we got a chance to see some of us,
and that's a good thing. And that's a good thing.
It's a good thing. And still I rise.
And it's a good thing. Man. I think a lot of times people tend to believe that the changing of any guard is going to have some negative results.
Yeah, that's right.
But in fact, I think it's an acknowledgement that everybody counts. That everybody counts. That everybody matters.
And every
vote matters.
Yes, sir.
And everybody matters. And everybody being able to experience the opportunity of success, wealth, pursuit of happiness, life, and liberty, those things which are endowed to us as citizens of the United States, our birthright.
That's right.
You know, we're actually allowed and actually enabled now to really pursue and achieve those things. And I think that, you know, it's not a situation where anyone would be left out. Everyone is entitled. If you want some more room at the table, just build another space. Stop thinking that you being at the table means somebody else does not have to be at the table. We don't change places. We just grow the table. And through a fully grown table, everyone is able to eat.
And you know what about this show? Make sure that if you check us out on Spotify, make sure you check our show out on Spotify, either through Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, or your favorite podcast provider. Plus, you can always text Funky to 72000. That's FUNKY to 72000.
Because Funky Politics is a show for everybody. And everybody out there, until next time, Doc and DC implore you and demand that you always keep it real,
keep it right,
and keep it funky.
Right here on Funky Politics on the Kazukian Network.
Funky Politics, recorded at Kadzukian Studio. Directed, produced, recorded, and distributed by Kadzukian.